Personally speaking, I've been there before, scared before, worrisome, worried if my day would come. Oh man, I reminisce about it often. I'm hoping my ambition was in a coffin. I had to stop believing I could do much more. Here we go, give my all the way to sold out show. Oh man, feels so good, I might go shopping. No one going back to nothing, it's never gonna be enough. Say I know. It gets better. It gets better. Said I know. It gets better. It gets better. I know. It gets better. Said I know. It gets better.
I know it gets better. Hey, you ain't gotta be stressed out.
You ain't gotta be stressed out. Turn it up, turn it up.
Have no doubt. I know it gets better. Only gonna make it okay. For another day. Feeling bad, all you gotta say is I know it gets better.
Said I know. Oh, we gonna be alright. Real.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are live. So we are doing this for the first time via Zoom. So I would say I appreciate your patience during this time if we have a few hiccups. But welcome to Tuesday Team Meeting, guys. My name is Charlie Stelle, for those of you who have not met. And we, for the foreseeable future, we are going to combine forces with North Shore and Lake Country to do one team meeting, leverage our economies of scale in terms of people, value, and our biggest focus is to give you an immense amount of value during this time of really uncertainty and really something that none of us have ever really been through before. So I'm going to kick it over to Diana to kind of welcome the Lake Country group as well.
Morning. Did that
There
work?
you go.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, North Shore. I will say, while this is your first, this is our second Zoom team meeting. So if there's any guidance we can give you along the way, we're happy to. So glad to be joining you. Lake Country, welcome, welcome. This is when Charlie and Maureen and I and Mandy were talking about the best way to get the most information to everybody and be of the biggest supports for you. This was the best way that we found, is just to combine forces. There's so many moving parts right now. We wanted to get the information to you as quickly as possible and have everybody be on the same page. So we're excited about this. I'm still available to you guys as we go, and that's my dog Lucy. So we're excited about this, and I'm gonna mute again and hand this back to Charlie. Thanks so much.
Cool. So to get everybody in the right mindset, I'm going to share a little video to kind of start your morning. And I've shared this before with a handful of people, but I think it's a very apropos time to share this again, to really kind of reframe our mindset as we're going into kind of the unknown. So I'm going to jump this over.
Take care of each other. The United States Navy SEALs are perhaps the most elite warriors in the world. And one of the SEALs was asked, who makes it through the selection process? Who is able to become a SEAL? And his answer was, I can't tell you the kind of person that becomes a SEAL. I can't tell you the kind of person that makes it through buds. But I can tell you the kind of people who don't become SEALs. He says the guys that show up with huge, bulging muscles, covered in tattoos, who want to prove to the world how tough they are, none of them make it through. He said the preening leaders who like to delegate all their responsibility and never do anything themselves, none of them make it through. He said the star college athletes who've never really been tested to the core of their being, none of them make it through. He says some of the guys that make it through are skinny and scrawny. He said some of the guys that make it through, you will see them shivering out of fear. He says, however, all the guys that make it through, when they find themselves physically spent, emotionally spent, when they have nothing left to give physically or emotionally, somehow, some way, they are able to find the energy to dig down deep inside themselves, to find the energy to help the guy next to them. They become SEALs, he said. You want to be an elite warrior, it's not about how tough you are, it's not about how smart you are, it's not about how fast you are. If you want to be an elite warrior, you better get really, really good at helping the person to the left of you and helping the person to the right of you. Because that's how people advance in the world. The world is too dangerous and the world is too difficult for you to think that you can do these things alone. If you find your spark, I commend you. Now, who are you going to ask for help, and when are you going to accept help when it's offered? Learn that skill. Learn by practicing helping each other. It'll be the single most valuable thing you ever learn in your entire life. To accept help when it's offered and to ask for it when you know that you can't do it. The amazing thing is, when you learn to ask for help, you'll discover that there are people all around you who've always wanted to help you. They just didn't think you needed it because you kept pretending that you had everything under control. And the minute you say, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm stuck, I'm scared, I don't think I can do this, you will find that lots of people who love you will rush in and take care of you. But that'll only happen if you learn to take care of them first.
Right, so, I'm just gonna make sure this is...
SEALs.
So I wanted to make sure, I wanted to start the meeting with that note because I thought it was super powerful message to say, guys, listen, we want our KW community to be that sense of calming confidence for this group during this time, right? It's a very fluid situation. We want to help you, whether it's personally or professionally. We have more resources available to us, whether it's people or insights or just something you may need. If there's something you need help with, please reach out. Both Diana, myself, Maureen, Mandy, Ariana, Jen, the entire crew wants to be there to help you through this. Even if it's as simple as, hey, Charlie, Diana, I need someone, can someone jump on a conference call with me to help me talk a client through what we're going through, or help advise, whatever it may be. We want to know, I want you to know that we have plenty of resources and we want to help you throughout this. Couple operational updates for you. Both Diana and I sent out emails this week letting you know that really the office is closed publicly to all agents as well as clients unless you are have a closing that is going on. The leadership teams in both offices will be working remotely and from home for the foreseeable future. Everything that we have all the capability in the world to ensure that commissions are being processed, documents are being processed, earnest money is being deposited. We can do all of that working remotely right now from home, and that the business operations of the brokerage will continue to go on as the best of our abilities. I would also say that because it's a very fluid situation, we would ask for a little bit of patience during these times as well as we work through some of the kinks of working 100% remotely as well. couple other things for you as it relates to team meeting. Oftentimes we share new listing and buyer needs just because of the sheer scale of this group and combining two different offices across vaster geographies. I would recommend, or we would recommend, that you please post those to the Facebook page utilizing the hashtag listings or hashtag buyer needs. Those are easily searchable hashtags within the group. If you do send us new listings, we will congregate them, put them into a PDF, and upload them to the Facebook page as well. But just for a streamline moving forward within team meeting, this will be kind of the foreseeable format. Lastly, just from an operational update, lots of questions have come through lately as regards to the status of our industry right now with the current stay-at-home order through Governor Evers and the city of Milwaukee. I just want to clarify for you that real estate and real estate services are deemed an essential service during the current mandatory shutdown. So what that means is we can continue to operate as you see best fit the business. I would obviously recommend, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, obviously recommend leveraging technology in various different ways for you to continue to serve your clients at a high level, but know that our number one priority and your number one priority should remain the health and safety of you, your families, and your clients. I did this morning at 6 a.m. Read through, this is the City of Milwaukee Health Department's order from the Milwaukee Commissioner imposing the citywide stay-at-home requirements to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Within this document, this is a 9-page document, you will find that within the professional services, you can see here real estate services, including appraisal and title services, are considered essential. I have not seen Governor Evers' document of this yet. I don't believe it's been released publicly. I'm waiting for that sometime today. But do note that real estate services are considered an essential business. We will remain open. We will serve your clients through closings and everything else that we can. And if I have seen some companies, more so national companies such as UPS, FedEx, GE Healthcare, that have provided their people with a document saying that they are a part of an essential business service in the event that they get stopped. If we need that for the state of Wisconsin, we will absolutely provide that to you. One other thing that I will share with the entire group later this morning via email, this was sent to us from Tony, who's a Lake Country agent, also who's an licensed agent in the state of Delaware, where the Delaware Association of Realtors put this document out with kind of a 29-point plan as it regards to how do we operate in this environment. Delaware is acting very similarly to the state of Wisconsin in terms of how we manage and operate real estate services as an essential business. I think this is a fantastic document that provides a lot of great guidelines for you as you move forward through this over the next several weeks. So be on the lookout. We will email this to you. I think it's just a great resource as it relates to guidelines. We will email this to you and also post this to the Facebook page. Cool. I'm actually now going to turn it over to the team from Focus Title and Knightberry Title, who are going to go through and give us an update as it relates to where we're at within the state of Wisconsin for remote notary and digital closings right now. So if Craig Haskins, Sherry Hippenbecker, Anshi Lee are on the call and could unmute.
Here we are.
Cool.
Hey guys, just Sherry and Anshi are in a different office than I am today, so I'll just make this quick. First of all, for those of you who aren't aware, Knightberry Title is Keller Williams' partner in Focus Title. So if you see our names as Knightberry, know that we're all the same family here. Every state that has a shelter-in-place order has exempted folks like us in the title industry as an essential service, so we'll be around doing closings. Focus is up and running fine. We have Knightberry has a page on knightberry.com under the COVID section that talks about how closings are impacted. So I would say that if you wouldn't mind looking at the Knight Berry page, if you're concerned as to any of the closing issues, especially with keeping people out of our office. We're trying to comply as much as we can, but we would really appreciate it if we can limit the people in the closing rooms to just the signers of the documents. If you want to join in by FaceTime or a conference call, or if you have any questions, certainly you're free to do that. We're just trying to minimize the impact of people coming to our office so that we can comply with the orders. A couple quick questions. The number one call I've gotten today already, it's only 9:16, is some stuff being circulated by other title companies. There's no changes in coverage for you. There's no changes in the ability for us to close. There's no changes to the courthouse being closed that will impact your closing. We've been ready. I mean, I don't want to say we've been ready for this, but we're fully digital. We can record, we can do closings, whatever, electronically. I'm going to let Anshi Lee, who is the project manager at Knight Berry in charge of digital closings, and also the general counsel for Focus Title on Knight Berry, Sherry Hippenbecker, take over to let you know what you can do with respect to having a closing remotely via webcam without people having to come into the office. So I'm going to mute myself and remind those guys to hit the unmute button.
Sherry, Anshi?
Sorry, we had.
Oh, you may be on mute again.
Okay, now can you hear me, Charlie?
You're good.
Okay, sorry about that. We're here in our Milwaukee office. My name is Sherry Hippenbecker, General Counsel. Anshi Lee, he's our project manager on this. About 2 weeks ago, the governor signed into law the remote notary law, allowing for a connection via webcam with a particular platform to be able to do remote execution of documents, deeds, mortgages, et cetera, that can be recorded in the land records. We weren't going to have this rolled out until September 2020 because of some regulatory issues. Our regulator agreed with us last week to fast track it, and as of last Wednesday evening at 9 p.m., we can do remote online notarization of deeds and mortgages in the state of Wisconsin for recording purposes. We have how many people at Knight Berry that are getting trained right now, Anshi?
Roughly 50.
Okay, including 2 people over at Focus Title. What that means is that we can handle your transactions to keep your sellers out of our closing rooms, to be able to digitally sign their deeds remotely. In fact, we have our first one scheduled for tomorrow because one of the sellers has just had a double lung transplant and certainly should not be moving outside of her home. So we have a solution for you, for your sellers to sign the deeds. What we don't have a solution for necessarily is for your buyers that need to have a mortgage signed and a promissory note signed, because many of the lenders are not ready to go because they thought they had until September or so of 2020. We do have a 3,000 person webinar scheduled for tomorrow for Wisconsin mortgage bankers to get them up to speed, but it may take a number of weeks for them to be ramped up to be able to do this, if not months. But know that for deeds, we can help out now. Talk to your closer. Our closers know the list of questions that have to be asked and the steps to take. Anshi?
Yeah, I think just a few points off of that. There are the Wisconsin DFI has only approved a handful, I think 5 vendors to be able to do this. So this isn't a session on FaceTime or via Facebook Live. This is a rigid system through vetted and implemented software to do that. I know that that question has been up in the air a few times. Can I just do a FaceTime with somebody and verify? No, there are some rigid restrictions and policies we need to do through the software. Again, talk to your closers. They understand what needs to be done and what steps needs to take in order to get it to that place. But right now we're ready and willing to help your sellers. Perfect.
Thanks for confirming that. I think that's all. You just need to know that we're here to help. We're very active, and we're going to be the first ones to do this because we see this epidemic as an opportunity to be able to keep everybody safe and secure.
Just one last comment. We have an issue in one of our Madison offices with a real estate agent there. The third-party software vendors that have put together the remote notarization options need to get paid for the software and the law and everything they did over the last few years to be ready for this. There is a fee that we have no control over the fee. It's between $85 and $150 or so, depending on if it's just a quick, simple deed for the seller or if it's an entire loan package from the buyer. So we're not marking that up. So just keep in mind that the fee that you're going to see on the closing statement is the actual and legitimate fee, and we don't control the third-party software vendors that have those fees. And it's worth it to not have to leave your house or your job or whatever it is to handle a real estate closing. In a few years, I think we'll all be looking back saying, remember when we used to go and sit at a table and do real estate closings? I think this just pushed this up a few years maybe. That's all. Thanks, Charlie.
Cool. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I did see a few questions come across as it relates to essential businesses. Right now, my understanding from an essential standpoint as it relates to movers and some of these other vendor partners is moving companies. It's a case-by-case basis. I know one company yesterday has ceased operations during this. I do know another company, Anchor Moving, yesterday. Actually, I just talked to Bill Forrester at Anchor Moving. They are continuing moving services during this time. The one thing that may change, at least from an Anchor standpoint, is the estimators have been doing estimates remotely. So he said it's been a little bit challenging allowing people to get into the homes to do estimates for moves, but they are operating as business as usual for Anchor Moving. I really believe it's a business by business decision. And as we find more vendors who are willing to stay open during this time to serve your clients, we'll definitely keep you posted on what that looks like. Cool. Awesome. Next, I am actually going to turn it over to Kimmy Herbert and Catherine Cario for some compliance updates.
Can everyone hear me? Good? All right. So I'm going to talk about just some things to consider, whether you have something under contract now or if you're going to be writing something in the next few weeks. So first of all, one of the biggest things I just want to start off with is just being very cognizant of how you're dealing with your co-brokes. Over communication is so important at this time, being patient with each other. I have seen buyers and sellers reacting very differently to this situation. So really important for us as the agents to try to find that win-win for both sides, being patient with the co-broke, and just remember that this is difficult for everybody and impacting everybody in different ways. So with that, if you are writing new contracts representing a buyer, or even if you're a listing agent and getting an offer to purchase, really consider longer deadlines. So you have the option to incorporate addendum CV into new offers, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. But if either party is not comfortable including that addendum, then a nice alternative is to just include some longer deadlines. Even if let's say in 2 weeks, this shelter in place is lifted and we're able to go about our business a little bit easier, you want to consider some lender delays. I know when they dropped interest rates, the lenders kind of got bogged down with refinancing. So either just automatically give that extension or those longer deadlines, or really communicate with the lender to ensure you're giving it buyers enough time to get that loan commitment. With that, so addendum CV, let's talk about that for a little bit. So the WRA drafted this addendum for the purpose of addressing contractual concerns for contracts that are already or offers that are already under contract. So it addresses contract deadlines, extensions due to closures. So if a title company or lenders can't assist with the closings, as well as isolation requirements. So if a buyer or a seller contracts COVID-19 and has to, they have to be isolated or quarantined for a certain period of time. So those are the two pieces that the addendum addresses. If you choose to incorporate this into your offer that's already an accepted offer, remember, with all addendums, you have to execute an amendment to the offer to purchase incorporating this addendum in. So you can't just have buyer and seller initial the addendum CV. You have to draft an amendment to the offer to purchase, acknowledging that addendum CV is hereby incorporated into the offer. And then the buyer and seller also initial addendum CV. You can find addendum CV in zip form. It is available in there now. It's also on WRA's website in PDF form. They did say that this form may be updated as the days, weeks go on. So Catherine and I will ensure you guys are kept up to date on any updates. And I also just want to take a minute just to clarify the addendum CV and what that 30-day extension means. So I'm going to give an example. If you have a 14-day inspection period, and on day 3, buyer contracts COVID or the inspectors aren't able to come out to the property, so they're no longer able to meet that deadline for their inspection, the buyer can give notice that, okay, we need to put this extension into place. So the default in the addendum CV is 30 days. So the inspection deadline automatically extends 30 days in addition to that 14 days. So essentially your inspection deadline is now 44 days. So just a clarification on that. So I guess what I'm trying to, I've gotten a lot of questions about it and whether you should or should not incorporate it. I mean, the idea behind it is that it does protect both parties so that neither find themselves in default, specifically with the closing date and contractual deadlines. Okay, I see a question. I'm finding that some agents are not wanting to use this and other brokers are creating their own. Anyone else? I'm seeing a whole mix of, I think somebody said that Shore West is recommending their agents not use it. I haven't seen any other firms create their own. At this time, we are not creating our own. Certainly something we can talk about, but any other feedback that other people are getting? First Weber has their own. You can email to me. Okay, so if we do make any changes to this addendum, we will communicate that out. If the other side doesn't want to use it, can we proceed? Absolutely. I mean, you can continue to proceed like you would with the contract. You can either include it, or if you choose not to include it, really consider maybe amending some of your deadlines so that you don't find yourself, on the day of a deadline and you're putting your buyers into and sellers in a tough spot. All parties do have to agree to incorporate the addendum. So again, an alternative is to kind of take a wait and see approach, a more reactive approach, and amend your deadlines as you go. But again, with any amendment, both parties have to agree. All right, so next piece, active listings. So if your seller, MLS last week made an announcement that if your sellers are choosing not to show their property, that you can continue, the property can stay as active in MLS, but they're not obligated to show the property. Two things to do, 2 action items to take if your sellers are in that boat. One, amend the listing contracts. Always best to have things in writing. So draft an amendment to the listing contract to acknowledge the seller's wishes. And then as well, put in MLS public remarks that the seller is no longer showing the property due to COVID-19. And MLS came out with literally word for word what you can put into the public remarks. So 2 things to consider with those active listings. And last but not least, I just want to really encourage you guys, keep looking for those WRA legal update emails. They're coming out. They used to come out every Tuesday night, but now they're just, every time they have an update, you're getting an email from the WRA. You could also take a look at wra.org/coronavirus, and they're continuously updating that website with updates on how this is impacting your business. All right, let me look at some questions here. Can we require proof of pre-approval prior to showing? Does this need to be put in remarks somewhere? Yeah, the seller can require a request that buyers provide pre-approval prior to showing. I would put this in the private remarks of MLS. Any other questions? Otherwise, that's all I have for you right now.
Cool. Thanks, Kimmy. Appreciate the updates. And then team, know that both Kimmy and Catherine are here for you to serve you during this. I'm sure there will be lots of questions as it relates to documents and deadlines and various different things. So do not hesitate to reach out to Kimmy or Catherine as you need them to help walk you through what some of these things may look like. Cool. All right, now I am actually turning it over to Mr. Brad Yates himself to give us a quick KW Tech update, as within the last week, we have had a kind of what I would consider a massive breakthrough as it relates to our data feed to Keller Williams, all things technology. So Brad's gonna give us a quick update as it relates to listing landing pages, the mobile app, and the data feed. Brad Yates, you're on.
Good morning from River West. How is everybody? Well, that's good. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Well, if you could put my screen up, oops, go back to this, up on screen. I can share my, you are Charlie, but in the last couple weeks, we started with Command, was functioning with our KWLS and MLS. And in the last week and a half, KWLS is now communicating almost fully with MLS. So you are able to utilize designs in Command. I highly recommend taking the time to promote your app. This is a great time, and I can walk people through on how to promote your app to your customers, clients, leads, and get your app on their phone. It is so much better than Zillow, and it's just a great thing. Even your websites are now bringing up current listings. The only problem, and it's not a problem, it's just a small hiccup, is that when you're doing designs, your delayed listings do not show up in KWLS. But tomorrow, I think at 1 o'clock, Mandy, we are doing exactly right here. And she's going to tape it live, how to create simple and beautiful landing pages that you can use to post and promote new listings or price reductions on Facebook. And that's free, $0 for that if you do it within your sphere or on your page. Also, if you're still doing open houses, I don't know if we still are or not. I did one last week, and I did everything electronically. So when they walked in the door, I asked them for their phone number and texted a landing page to them where they were able to sign in, get data sheets, and had my business information. And what was great was when they signed in, it automatically uploaded their information into my Command, and I didn't have to spend time on Monday doing that. Mary Beth, we're going to do it tomorrow at 1. You were asking about training on the app. Mandy is also going to be taping that. Also, I can send, if you have questions about anything, there's this great guy on YouTube, and now that we have time, his name is Marty Miller, does the 66-day Command Challenge 3.0. Watch that. Each day is a little bit different, and each day it just gives you a little more oomph in Command.
Cool.
So, and I want to personally say thank you to Charlie, Mandy, Maureen, on up to in Texas. We had Dave Voorhees, Kit Coleman, and little birdie. Unfortunately, I can't reveal. Even spoke to Gary Keller about this whole issue. They helped resolve all this. So, big thank you to everybody that was patient and participated in getting this resolved. Thank you.
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you, the real kudos goes to Brad, because he was all over this from day one. We had known we had MLS data feed issues with all of our tech for a while, and we just couldn't put our thumb on it of what was going on. And Brad was on this thing like white on rice every morning, emailing the team, listing issues, data issues, all these things to really clear this up. So Brad really did yeoman's work to get a lot of this fixed for all of us. So thank you, Brad.
Hey, you're welcome.
Cool. All right, moving on. I wanted to give it the group yesterday afternoon. I was on a conference call, and I believe some of you were on there as well. The Wisconsin WRA and Marquette University hosted the 8th annual Wisconsin Residential Real Estate Summit, and talk about the absolute perfect timing. Dr. Lawrence Yoon was on the call yesterday at 1 o'clock, who is the chief economist and senior vice president of research for the National Association of Realtors in Washington, D.C. And he gave a very interesting his insight into the economy, the housing industry, that I just wanted to kind of share with you some cliff notes as to his perspective on a broader scale. So we have some major factors in our favor right now in the Milwaukee and Madison metro areas. There's incredibly sizable pent-up demand for housing with a serious lack of inventory to support the demand. And he did a lot of comparisons across multiple time periods where he showed us how homes and the accessibility to money are actually more affordable today in 2019 than they were in comparison to, let's just say, 2000, right? And he was saying southeastern Wisconsin specifically is in a very good position in terms of some of these factors to help us kind of weather through what this may look like moving forward. When he talked about economic recoveries as it relates to our economy, he goes, really, there's two types of recoveries. There's a U-shape and there's a V-shape recovery. A U-shape is you have a little bit of a downturn, there's time to work things out, and then eventually over time it comes back up. What he's really hoping for in terms of what he's seeing within many economic factors is more of a V-shape recovery. And what he means by that is a really quick bounce back from where we were and during what was lost to mitigate major job losses. And this is really going to be dependent on the ability for us to provide accessible testing to the virus as well as the vaccine. But he believes through a lot of various other factors that he shared with us across an hour and a half, that he is seeing some pent-up consumer demand to support one another to get through this. So as we get through this, he expects the economy to come bouncing back pretty quickly in the form of a V-shaped recovery. Now, he did say with a caveat, the outlook is a little bit uncertain in terms of how long this will take, how quickly is it bounce back? What does this look like over time? But we have some many positive forces at work behind us. Just simply supply and demand, Econ 101. The demand within our market right now currently outweighs the supply. And because of that, he really expects home pricing to remain stable for the foreseeable future. And while the stock market wealth is a volatile asset right now within people's portfolio, the real estate wealth, the good news for us, real estate wealth has been very consistent. And he even looked at it across the last 30 or 40 years in terms of the consistency of that asset in people's portfolio. So he had a very positive. He said, listen, this is going to disrupt our industry. There's no question about it. I'm also uncertain of how long this will take, but I also believe that on the backside of this, that we will be in very good shape even during the recovery. And the backside, we should be in good shape as well. So I am getting access to Dr. Yoon's notes as well as his presentation and a recording of the presentation that we will share out with the group here. I'm hoping to have it today back from Marquette University, but as soon as I have that, I will share that with the group. One other thing that I did want to share with you guys is a little bit of a market dynamics report. So what this is this is Milwaukee Metro MLS, right? So this isn't just KW, this is all MLS. And this is a weekly report that breaks down across the 5-county metro area for Milwaukee, Washington, Ozaki, 5-county metro area, you can see it there. And I just took a look. I looked at units under contract by week, expired units, expired listings per week, and new listing inventory per week. And the reason I'm going to update this weekly so we can see the trend lines within this data. But the real reason I'm really trying to provide you with some factual information on this is to help you handle objection handlers or some concerned clients, or just to help you having conversations with people within your database, right? I am very sensitive to the fact of, I don't want the message to say, hey, we're completely ignoring the virus and that the business is going on and we're doing this, that, and the other. It's really to help provide you factual information to have intelligent conversations with your clients as you need or see fit for this information, right? So if you look, the top line is which is in red, and the bar graph in red is number of new listing units trend by week. Here you can see trending over the weekly period, it's trending up 27%. So what that means is there's more inventory coming on the market every single week. Positive sign, and something that I'll be paying attention to very closely as we move forward throughout April. The second line, the blue line, is number of units under contract trend by week. This number is also trending at a plus 18%. So the total number of units that have gone under contract are trending positively as well. Again, something I'll monitor weekly and provide you with information. And then the last line, the purple line with the purple bar graph, is the number of listing units expired by week is trending negatively down 0.3. That's again, another positive metric for us across the industry that says the inventory that's coming to market is coming under contract, and very few listings, very few percentage of the listings right now on the market are expiring. Now, all three of these are key factors as we look heading into April in terms of where the industry goes, but definitely something we will continue to keep providing for you to share with your clients to help in any conversations that you may have. Cool. I'm just going to check one other thing. Couple questions. Is Charlie's data from Broker Metrics? Yes, it is Broker Metrics across all MLS. Can I add the withdrawn status to get a pulse on how sellers are responding to this? I'll definitely look into that, Ross, and keep you posted. If there are things that you want me, if you would like seen within the data within Broker Metrics, don't hesitate to shoot me a note, and I will do my best to provide you with all the information I have access to as it relates to trends within the industry. Cool. Now I'm going to actually toss it over to 3 different agents to provide some insights to you. One, first, Marcus Auerbach has done a really, actually for the last several weeks or months, has already been leveraging technology as it relates to his buyer consultation utilizing Google Hangouts. So I just asked Marcus to kind of share some thoughts there. Kathy Shaw doing the same thing. And then Charlie Hutchinson, I asked him to jump on to just talk about how they're prepping some of their listings and the resources that his light photography group has available for you as agents to help service your clients, show homes digitally. So Marcus, are you on?
I'm on. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I've been doing buyers consultations online for a while. I started out last year doing this for clients that are out of state. So, you know, it was simply the only option to do this. And I've since expanded last year to also do this with people who are in state, but maybe it's not convenient. If somebody's in Brookfield, I'm here in Mequon, and meeting at 5 o'clock is, there's a lot of traffic. So we just do, we're just doing this, my phone's going off here, what's time? So we're just doing this on a Google Hangouts call. So the way I do it, I just put it in my Google Calendar and invite them. There's an option there to, not make it a physical meeting, but make it a Hangouts video call. It's self-explanatory. It is super easy. You have it on your calendar. They have it on their calendar. Even if they have a Yahoo email address, not a problem whatsoever. So that works very well. I also sent them a little form up front that I asked them to fill out. Looks something like this. It's just an initial consultation survey for buyers. And I asked them to fill that out and email it back to me. It saves us some time because I already have the basics, where they're looking, what are they looking for, et cetera, et cetera. So I have something to prepare myself for the meeting a little bit. And then for the meeting itself, I follow a simple agenda. So, basically I start out with a little bit of a forward conversation. Then I ask them about their real estate goals. What are they trying to accomplish? And then I go through, a little bit of a process. So I usually have some slides there where we talk about financing. We're talking about what's going on in the market at the moment. It's very important to prepare people for how competitive the market is. So I give them some anecdotal stories on, how we won deals in super competitive environments. So they're mentally prepared for that a little bit. And then we go through the process step by step, more in detail if they're first-time home buyer, and a little bit less in detail if they're more seasoned, and then finish up basically with, how do you like to communicate and what are your expectations? How do we win with you and how do we lose with you? That type of thing. And I think Jennifer Strelka asked me on Facebook what my experience was with this. And I have to say, I do not see really a difference between doing meetings in person and doing them online. I think the buy-in comes from them committing 50 minutes, an hour of time to sitting down with me, talking about things. And it doesn't really make that much of a difference if you meet with them in person or if you do it through an online call. So pretty good experience with that.
Awesome. Marcus, thank you for sharing. I will, if you wouldn't mind sending me that document that you utilize as a kind of a pre-survey question, I will provide that to the group. Be a huge benefit for, I believe, everybody as we kind of work through consultations online. Kathy Shaw, how about you?
Well, I have, I kind of looked at my business as we entered in this uncertain time in like 3 different pockets. So there was sort of the short-term things that were in flight. I have like 5 deals that are in process of being closed. So those were kind of in a triage where I was working more and continuing to working with the broker very closely, working with the lenders. Then I kind of looked at the midterm, which was active buyers and sellers. And then long-term, working with my sphere and my database. So if I just focus on that midterm group right now and how leveraging technology, I have a seller that was very motivated. However, they had brought a child home from being overseas, studying abroad. They were conscious of bringing people into their home and exposing them to their daughter who was quarantining even before we were mandated to quarantine. And then also just their own exposure to bringing people in the home. So I remembered back to a course I had taken on maps where Chris Suarez, who is a agent, mega agent, expansion agent, he talked about using technology in open houses, and they had gone virtually paperless. And whenever they had an open house, they would create Google folders for each of the properties so that when they arrived, they didn't have to scramble with papers. It was just digitally available, and they would have people access the information that way. So with that in mind, I took the listing that I had and scrambled quickly to get in while the sellers could leave the house. And I had in the last year sold 2 homes two buyers that were out of market, one in Denver, one in New Orleans, accepted offers. So I basically did a FaceTime showing in my listing on my phone. So very low tech, nothing fancy. It's just me basically doing a showing, and I'm opening closet doors. I'm showing the California closets. I'm opening, soft closed dresser drawers, whatever I could do if I was, as if I was doing a FaceTime showing. And it, again, is low tech, but it walks through the house. I walk around the outside of the house. I can also walk around the garage area. And then I took those videos and I uploaded it into a Google folder. I also downloaded from MLS any relevant documents and created a folder within a folder. The seller themselves had recently had a fire pit last Saturday when it was nice, showing what they were doing, sheltering in place, just short little videos. So I do have that, and I've not turned off showings because I do want to monitor the interest level and keeping track of the buyers. So I've just been working very closely with the broker, the co-brokes, the agents, and immediately when there's a request for a showing, we are declining it, but I'm contacting them real time, offering to provide the link to the videos and then following up right away. One of the buyers did look at the videos and then did go to the home. I was able to set it up with the sellers. They were wanting to walk around the property to kind of put in context the rooms and sort of the lot and the neighborhood. So it's doing what we had already been doing, which is leveraging technology, but really trying to just apply it in a new way. And I had offered also some more advanced technology in using a videographer. And in this situation, they just did not want anybody in the home. So now I'm on my buyer side. I've got 2 active buyers that are moving here because of job transfers and absolutely have to have housing. So I'm working on the other side of it with the agents on the listing side. And one of them is sending me a video today at 11 o'clock. So I'm trying to be really collegial and patient and resourceful in using some of the things that we do have. Again, they're low tech, but I've done low tech and it works for buyers and sellers in the past. So just trying to be adaptive.
I think it's great. I think great messages, don't overthink what you're trying to do to help people, right? And however that may come across is, like Kathy said, just doing it on her phone is a great example of that. Kathy, thanks for sharing. Chuck Hutch, how about you?
All right, gang, here we go. I think everyone can hear me. So for those who don't know, we run Houseworks Collective with Keller Williams, but also Light Photography Group, which is our photography business. One thing we've been offering for quite some time is the 3D tours, and now we're getting obviously an influx of orders for that. So for those who don't know what that is, it's the Matterport 3D tour. It gives you the option to send the tour to prospective buyers, and they can tour the home really before even stepping foot inside the home. So you can kind of vet them to see if they actually like the property before they come into the home. So my suggestion is, well, one, go to the website. You can check out the tours and see all the pricing. And then what we're doing for our listings is we're shooting the 3D tour, and then we're doing the reverse prospecting on MLS and sending that tour out to agents who have their clients set up on a search. And then from there, if they still like the house, they can schedule a showing. But kind of like Kathy said, before we accept that, we call them to vet and make sure that that they do indeed, like the house. We're not just opening the floodgates to let everybody in the house. So the 3D tours is a big thing. Obviously, we can do drone. That doesn't really affect anybody, either. The precautions we're taking is that for those of you who use us for our services, Alec is our main photographer. He's the only one going out right now and shooting. So if you do use us for these services, our request is that there's nobody at home when Alec comes in to shoot. All the lights are on, all the blinds are open, and because he's not going to touch anything. So if the toilet seat's up, it's going to stay up in the photo and the 3D tour. So make sure you tell your clients to prepare everything, make it look real pretty. Otherwise, I just shared the link to our website. You can check that out. Any questions, you can just give me a call.
Cool. Chuck Hutch, I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that insight there. Cool.
Well, real quick on that too, we did reduce the price of the 3D tours during this time. So book it. I can always work with you too on pricing. Obviously, it's a really good option during these times.
Cool. Thank you for the insight. We appreciate you jumping on. All right, wrapping it up, just some upcoming educational events aspects for you. Wanted to make sure the group is aware, kwconnect.com /page/live streams. Keller Williams Realty International is running live streams now every single day, 10 a.m., 12 p.m., and 4 p.m. And think of it kind of like family reunion, right? For those of you who have been to family reunion, if you haven't, is the amazing thing they're doing is they're providing a ton of different resources for you at various times throughout the day. They're really 20 to 30 minute kind of consider it like breakout sessions. Log into the stuff you want or you need or you want to plug into, and don't feel like you have to plug in every single day or every single training, but know that Keller Williams International is providing some live streams. There's a great Facebook group called Pivot Shift Ahead that is being led by Jay Papasan, who wrote the book on Shift with Gary Keller. So there are some resources available. And this group with Pivot Shift Ahead is really industry-wide. So if you have friends at other companies that are looking for resources or looking for ways to plug in during this time, this is a great group to utilize and leverage as well. And then wanted to give up update for you locally. We will continue to do everything via Zoom as we would have if we were hosting trainings within the Market Center. So you can see, for example, this week, Wednesday, Paul Nikolic is still going to do Coffee with a Capper at 11 a.m. We're just going to do it via Zoom. Same thing with productivity coaching, launch coaching. And then Friday, Jamie Old Coyote is doing the Team Admin Mastermind. So any teams with admins that want to jump on that Zoom call, feel free. And then moving forward as we go into April, from a local training and education standpoint, we're going to coordinate our efforts with North Shore, Lake Country, and Southwest to create one local concise calendar. Benefit to that is you're going to get varying different degrees of perspectives across the geographies within Milwaukee and hear from people that you may not know or who are doing this business at a high level. So Mandy, myself, Diana, Kim, Rogni, we're working on that schedule this week. More information to come out as what this looks like locally to hear from some of our great people here in Milwaukee in the month of April. Cool. I am now turning it over to Maureen, who's going to close out the meeting. Maureen Stale.
Got it.
Yep.
Working? Camera
Yep.
working? All right. Well, hi guys. I just want to wrap this up. A couple of things. First, I want to thank Knightberry and Focus Title for being on the forefront of the digital signing for our closings. That is monumentally huge. As you know, Sherry Hippenbecker, you may or may not know, the attorney that you all saw sort of on the screen, has been instrumental in working with the governor to get the bill passed for digital notarizing. And because of her, Knightberry and Focus are actually on the forefront of getting this done sooner than any other title company. So I want to thank them for their diligence and hard work on that. Also, you know, what we've all learned forever and ever since we've started KW and been involved with KW is shift is going to happen. It is what's happening. It's what's always happening, positive or negative. You've always got to learn how to shift. Pivoting, the new word, pivot. Well, we've all at KW had the benefit of thinking like that for a long time. So it's nothing we aren't uncomfortable with. It's just an unfortunate situation. The health of our world is scary. And so I am really pleased to be with this group of people that has been talking about shifting and pivoting for quite a long time. So we're good at it. Dr. Yoon's V-shaped recovery yesterday, that was very fascinating. The V-shape versus a U-shape. In a U-shape, you stay down at the bottom longer. In a V-shape, you bounce right back. And I can ask you all to not only pray for a V-shaped recovery, but let's pray for our healthcare workers and do what we can to help them. Two most important influencers in my world, Simon Sinek, I have adored always, and his statement of find your energy in helping others. Look to the left, look to the right. And Mr. Rogers, who says, in a crisis, always look for the ones who are helping. Those are the ones that are really doing the job. And and look for those people. And I want to just give a shout out to our leadership team. This Zoom training or meeting this morning looks like it was pulled together so effortlessly. Trust me, it takes a, sorry, Charlie. It takes a lot of effort to keep this ship moving forward. And if all of you could take a moment and thank them, they have put in tireless hours keeping this ship moving forward and keeping everybody positive and productive and doing what they can do to help others. So please, please thank them when you have a moment. Shoot them a note, because this is monumental. Being able to go to a full Zoom meeting is incredible. So I thank you all for your time and your commitment to your people, and let's go out there and take on the world.
Awesome. Guys, be great. Have a phenomenal week. Anything you need, do not hesitate to reach out. We are here to serve you. We want to help you, and we will get through this as a group together. Awesome. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you all next week.